What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is my Walking Dead Season 1 recap review. Now, The Walking Dead is a show about zombies, been out for years. I never had a chance to get into it. Now, I'm going back on Netflix, and I'm watching it, and I'm going to break it all the way down until we get to the current episodes. First, I'd like to thank my supporters at Patreon.com, my true fans, Joyce M., D. Thorne, Anthony M., Yolanda R., Angel B., Eddie S., Cynthia H., Felena W., Special K, and Valerie L. I wouldn't continue to do this without your support. I really thank you. You're my true supporters. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. Now let's get into it. Now, The Walking Dead is a show that's made by AMC, but now you can watch it on Netflix, and that's what I've been doing. I was never able to catch it when it first started, and I never wanted to start watching the show in the middle. Now you can go back on Netflix, binge watch. It's a great show to binge watch. Me personally, I always like movies about zombies and the zombie experience, but the one thing in common with all the movies is that they're short. It's a movie and then it's over, and you never got to get in detail with how did they survive and stuff. This show does that. It starts off with two cops. It's got Rick, he's on the right, and Shane on the left. Best friends, partners, they share, talk about everything, and it starts off in episode 1. They're in the squad car, they're talking, joking, telling whatever about the wives, food, whatever, just shooting the breeze. They get a call that it's a robbery in progress, and so they speed off, try to get there and block off the road, throw the road spikes down, and get there to pretty much stop these robbers or whatever with this high-speed chase. And so when the people come, the guys, they spin out on the spikes and crash, get out shooting, and one of the guys shot Rick and ended up putting him in the hospital. And so Rick's in the hospital, his partners came to visit him and everything, and then he's like in and out of consciousness. He remembers him giving flowers and stuff. Later they flash back. When all the world went down, his partner did come there and try to get him out, but he was connected to stuff. People were dying in the hospital, and he bailed and left them there. It shows a period of time because he has a beard. He wakes up in the hospital disoriented, doesn't know what's going on. He leaves out the back door, bodies everywhere. It's dead bodies and stuff inside, and he has no idea what's going on. He's still in his hospital clothes. He goes back to his home, trying to see if his wife is there, if he's dreaming, get some clothes, something. And while he's there, a zombie attacks him, and he's scared out of his mind. He doesn't know what's going on. And right before he was able to do anything, this black guy and his son saved him. They killed the zombie. He was killing zombies in the street. It was a lot of them walking, and we come to find out his wife was one of them, but he was never able to actually kill her, even though he should have. He broke it down that when you infected, you break out in a fever and then you die. And so him and Rick form a little partnership. He goes back to the police station, gets his gear, he gets a shave, and he's ready to bust some caps. And so now he's packing, he's ready to go, and while he's going into town, he's on his radio trying to find survivors. And it was a base camp in the woods by a quarry, and they happened to have his partner Shane there among others, but they couldn't make out exactly what he was saying on the radio, so he continued into town, into Atlanta, because the black guy and his son said he heard that the CDC was there and that it may be food or whatever. Meanwhile, that camp, Shane, his best friend, is looked up as the leader of the camp. He's organizing and protecting everybody, and so everything was going smooth there. They didn't realize that Rick was on his way to Atlanta. They thought Rick was dead. He actually was forming a relationship with Rick's wife. They showed him sleeping with her in the woods and stuff, and she she's trying to be a father to his child. And so when Rick gets into A-Town, he didn't realize it was swarming with the Walking Dead. His horse gets startled. He falls off the horse. They go and eat the horse. They eating horse meat without having to go to White Castles. And so he barely escapes with his life. He was right next to a tank. And so he crawls under the tank trying to escape with his life. And next thing you know, it was a hatch right when he was going to kill himself. He crawls into the tank and he thinks, man, I made it, but what am I going to do? I'm stuck in the tank with all this stuff all around. And then he gets a call on the radio. Some guy, dumbass, what are you doing? And so he starts talking, and it's a guy, and he's telling him, hey, you can go out the top, go this way, make a break for it. I can see you can make it. And so Rick, he like, man, this is your best chance while they distracted. So Rick goes out the tank, breaks it out, and then he meets up with the guy. He looked like a Short Round from the Goonies, all grown up. And so they leading them all together. They got a little black dude, T-Bone, of course. And so they all try to get their little group together. It's a few of them, and they were all in town getting supplies. So now they're trapped. They try to get out, and they end up leaving. It was a guy, and he got handcuffed by Rick to the pole because he beat the hell out of T-Bone. He was racist. He was trying to take charge. And so Rick and Short Round, they put blood on him and smell real bad to try to blend in. And it worked for a while they tried to make it to get supplies. But eventually they had to start chopping heads, and T-Bone tweaked out and dropped the key, so he couldn't get old boy unhandcuffed. And his brother was ready to kill T-Bone because when they looking for him, they can't find him and stuff. And so just a lot. It's real hectic. It shows how society can break down. And while they were trying to help get out of there and look for his friend, Short Round, he got kidnapped by some essays. Come to find out, it's Yellow Boy from straight out of Compton. He one of the Vatos Locos, bro. And so the Vatos Locos, they trying to protect their turf. And they said, hey, you got them guns. We want the guns, and we give you your boy back. And they had one of his people. Come to find out, they was protecting the old folks' home. They wasn't really hard. And their leader, Yellow Boy, was actually the janitor, the custodian. So, you know, it was crazy how things happen and roles change. And while they were in the city, the base camp got attacked by the Walking Dead, and so they had to fight, and they lost people in the woods, and it was real sad. It was the girl's birthday, and her sister had to watch her get a little neck respect, and they put a hell of a hickey on her neck. She stayed there all day, rubbing her overnight. Rick tried to tell her, hey, let's get rid of it, let's bury her, and she ready to shoot Rick point blank, right in front of his family, everything. And so it was really interesting, and it was really crazy how people try to hold on to what was left, and people adjust to the new world. This one guy tried to hide that he was bit, as if they wasn't going to notice that he was tweaking out and like stir-fried shit. But he was afraid that the group might get balled up like old Cash. And so it was crazy what people would do. And sister girl, she was sad to see him go. She got rid of her little white chocolate or whatever. So they all decided, let's go to the CDC. And so once they got there, they saw all these dead bodies laid out or whatever, and so they starting to get discouraged. And meanwhile, it was a doctor that was in there, and he was communicating to leave messages, and he was doing tests, but he was getting discouraged inside. And so they was trying to bang on the door, but he wouldn't let them in. And they were like, hey man, you leave us out here, we gonna get sucked on like a 40 ounce of malt liquor. You killing us, let us in. And so he pretty much lets them in. And so they come in, and they all feeling good and everything. They didn't realize, after a while, he let them get showers, do this, do that. They were all happy and thinking they could stay there, and they were saved. And he's breaking it down, telling them that, hey man, everywhere is screwed, ain't nowhere to go. And so he pretty much, the timer was running out on the power, and when the power goes out, the whole place is destroyed because of some of the worst and most deadly viruses known to man. And he was going to lock them in, but eventually they got out of there, and the place blew up and vaporized all these evil bacteria and stuff. And you know, that was the end of season 1, and now we left wondering where do they go next. It's a pretty good show, actually, considering that these were a lot of unknown actors at the time. I recognize a lot of them now, and they've been able to go on and have bigger roles and do other things. But at the time, you know, it was made, a lot of these people were unknown, but they came together as a good compilation cast, and they all complemented one another, you know, one way or the other. And you could see a power dynamic between Shane and Rick starting to happen, because Rick is now with his wife and kid. She was mad at Shane because he told her that Rick was dead, and then he began a relationship with her, and so he fall in love with her, and he wants to raise his kid as his own. And so now, once she's with her husband, she cuts it off with him, and so now it was starting to develop a problem, a rift between the two. And so you know, they didn't know, you know, what would happen if she was pregnant, whose baby batter was it Shane's or Rick? It was kind of hard to tell, and it was other ladies there. You know, it would be interesting to see if Shane would have tried to, you know, just form another relationship with someone else. But you know, it's just interesting. It's like a blind man in an orgy. You're gonna have to feel your way around and feel this situation out and see what happens. But it really draws you in, and it makes you want to look at the next season. I'm glad that I did start watching this. I'm gonna do a video about each season up until I get caught up with season 9, and that's in February. And by then, I'll know what's going on. I'll be able to give you my unique commentary and breakdown for each remaining episode, and we'll have a little fun with that. So I hope you enjoyed my little season 1 recap. Of course, it's a lot more that went on than just this short video can explain, but that's the gist of it. And yeah, I did give spoilers because this came out, what, 6, 7, 8 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. So if you haven't seen it by now, you know, what can I say? I haven't seen it myself, but I didn't give away everything. So I strongly suggest going to check it out on Netflix, binge watch it if you haven't, and you'll enjoy it. That's all. I appreciate you for watching. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.